Hello strategy gaming enthusiasts, my name is AlzaboHD. Victoria 3 has just launched the Great Wave DLC, and in today's challenge video, we will attempt to take Texas to Tokyo and form Texapan, also known as Jupexes, but the journey will not be easy. Texas is a third-rate state that starts off in a war they often lose, has a northern neighbor that'll subjugate any survivors, and is halfway across the world to a chosen land safe from Yankee predation. This video is sponsored by Paradox Interactive and the new Great Wave DLC, so support me and upgrade your V3 by checking out the link in the description box below. With Iron Man mode activated, it's time to get started with quite possibly the most ambitious and ridiculous Exodus campaign in Victorian history. Texas begins their campaign in 1836 with no meat, no fruit, and an unstable government at war with Mexico. Our population consists of about 5 cows at HEB, and the economy is a single wheat field, so we'll ask our workers to get started with logging camps and constructing farms and fisheries. Mexico is about to invade us, and we're going to need every military modifier possible to survive. First, we'll obtain patriotic fervor by pleasing the armed forces faction, which seeks colonial exploitation, then search for friends abroad by sending diplomats to England and France. Using money we don't have, we'll pay our soldiers high wages for further army approval and appoint Sam Houston and his adamant defenses to the South by Southwest front line. If God blessed Texas, one might ask how 5,000 Gringos can survive against 15,000 Federales, and the answer is the Alamo. Serious Sam has twice the defense of Santa Ana, and if he can win a single battle, spoiler alert, we can capture the ruler of Mexico and press for a white peace. Texas is free, but El Paso, Brownsville, and Amarillo are under native occupation and must be liberated. Life is pay to win, and we don't have to pay our army more than they're worth, which isn't very much at all. 5 years of peace is all we have before Mexico comes back for more, and we have several choices here. The historical option is to befriend the USA, which triggers an event forcing us to choose between becoming a subject or sovereignty with hostility. If you keep relations below +20, this will not fire in the first place, but given that America gains claims over Texas due to manifest destiny, we might as well make a statement. Y'all who've ever driven on the I-45 know that Texas needs road maintenance and will enact social mobility and resource edicts to build up our economy. Unfortunately, our property is running south of the border, but the good thing about borders is that they can be moved. Staking claims in Amarillo is fitting, if you know what I mean, and by colonizing the Panhandle, Texas claims Texas. The right to bear arms is a Texan tradition, and we might as well inform the Yankees to come and take it. Peaceful proliferation begets a starving population, and while you can't eat guns, you can eat American imperialism. If we join the American market and become a protectorate, we'll get food, immigration, and protection, but that's not the Alzabo way. I was born in Texas, yes, really, and the mentality is very much we don't need help from the Yankees. Next, we'll go against states' rights by making property free, which should have an effect on our demography. Of course, not everyone is based like AlzaboHD, and Dixie culture consists of successive secessions. The Christian clergy was thus mobilized to promote a police state that passed, narrowly avoiding calamity at the hands of an insurgent confederacy. Charity is up next, and what better way than by loving your neighbor? Granting the Yanks an embassy might let us join their power block diplomatically, and with the Southern truce expiring, alternatives were few and far between. To the one who knocks, the door will be opened, and in 1842, Texas joined the coalition of states for security and prosperity, as our market now became one with Washington. It's time to liberate our land from Mexican hand, and with an American obligation, this should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. The ecstasy of gold compels good, bad, and ugly, but us Texans are only in it for the money. Well, we're also in it for the Rio Grande, New Mexico, Sonora, Arizona, Nevada, and California. Sam is back on the attack, but this time he won't be ringing any Taco Bell. Sí, Mexico is jodido, just like our economy, but fortunately this won't last but a second. Unfortunately, the real enemy teleported behind us with a claim, but I suppose that's destiny manifest. Houston, to his credit, never traversed the Rio Grande and opted to party in Langtree while the Yanks spread freedom and democracy all the way to Mexico City. The incoming peace treaty 10x'd our population, more than septupled our territory, and showered us in fiat currency. From the Rio River to the Death Valley Sea, Texas was free of both Mexicans and savory. In time, these empanada enthusiasts would become true Tejanos after about 2.5 decades of incorporation, but for now, it's time to make Mexico pay for it all. Further to the north, the hootenanny in Washington came to a brutal and abrupt halt when our ambassador was deported by Vanilla Ice. With neighbors like these, who needs enemies, which is why Houston set his eye to the west, or the east, with an idea. America would never attack these islands, and thus the Treaty of Texan Pretense to establish influence in Asia was signed in 1843. The interest system in V3 has changed for the better, and now requires direct actions like treaties and diplomats to establish spheres of influence, so watch and observe. In addition to hurricanes, Galveston is also known for shipbuilding, and to crown his first port, Houston designed a flagship in honor of himself. It's only going to take 6,000 weeks to build. We'll found our first company for the forest industry. It's what Germans crave, and use this wood to make the paper for public schooling. Houston was by now a rank 2 weeaboo, but Gringo Gaijin are apparently forbidden from colonizing Sakhalin. Instead, he'd have to settle for OK and use Mexican money to fund the Texan military. Shipyard subsidies results in boats that can be built on a human timescale, though this gravy would not flow in perpetuity. That's because Mexico has decided to stop paying alimony, but fortunately, we've researched Latino exclusion to better extract shareholder value. It's about time to boost up our navy. Polish proliferation has led to 1 million GDP, and our southern neighbor gave up all of their territories north of us to Washington for free. The United States hates us because they ain't us. Thus, we'll convene a cowboy convention to guarantee our continued freedom. While the Yanks invaded Italy to extract edible cheese, our own legend of the Texan War for Independence had decided democracy was overrated. Sam Houston overthrew our polity to install John Farmer to power. The militias of Austin exercised their right to bear arms, and the Treaty of Texan Transit with Hawaii set the stage for future expansion in the Pacific Rim. Universal suffrage means that every man is now a king, in this case a starving sovereign, and with the advent of officer training, it was time for a pummel party with the piñata yet again. This time, we're on our own and outnumbered 2-1, but what we lack in quantity, we make up for in quality. The general strategy here is to defend the front while Mexico sends their peasants to the slaughter, known locally as Dia de los Muertos. Their men have 5 times the casualty rates of our own, and while they bash their dead against our wall, we've sent our fleet around South America to sneak attack them with a naval invasion. Chaos could best describe what happened next, as Santa Anna desperately sent 80% of his men from the front to defend against our 1-regiment decoy, and while some of our men may die, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make to break the northern front and put a leash on Chihuahua. Texas now occupies the 2 states set in the initial war goal, and war score ticked in our favor, but if we don't win soon, our treasury will reach insolvency. Apparently peace sells, and we're buying, granting Austin 2 provinces, 500,000 citizens, and over 10,000 ducats a month, effectively neutering the Mexican menace and setting up our state for parabolic profits. On the topic of profits, the early access build I used to record this campaign had a minor bug linked to tenant farmers that prevented 95% of Texan buildings from hiring people. So the next 10 years of this campaign were funded entirely with war reparations. You'll notice that even with a 10k peso payment plan, we're still in the red. So fundamentally, our economy is about 5 times weaker than it should be. Fortunately, we don't need much of a treasury to take Japan's isolated Kuril Island chain, and in 1860, war was declared for a future springboard into the homelands of Hokkaido. Normally, such an invasion would fail due to supply shortages and 0% army organization, but this island is separated from the rest of Japan, and the Imperial Navy consists of 2 rafts and a whale. We did attempt to take Hokkaido, but this aggroed about 77,000 teleporting samurai. Taking war score will grant the Kurils eventually, and Houston decided to flex his new navy by using his Hawaiian treaty to aloha-nate the native population, leading to the acquisition of our first subject state. Traditionally, payment can be made in 3 methods, and Hawaii opted for cash, which is good because an economy built on bugs is bound for extermination. Eventually, the Curls fell to Texan annexation, but our nation needed money and embarked on a diplomatic tour of Mesoamerica. Los Altos bent the knee without violence and paid cash. Guatemala tried to resist and learn the secret to Texan hospitality, and Mexico stopped paying for 80% of our economy, which led to the first and only time I've pressed this button in V3. Our bricked economy is not capable of supporting a single construction sector or even an army, so Houston had no choice but to strike the piñata once again. Bankruptcy destroys the effectiveness of armies, so we're forced to cede Nevada to call America to a war in which pesos and the Rio Grande were wagered. Time to sit back and relax as Uncle Sam paints his canvas of pain. In exchange for the Mojave, we received money and Monterey, but let me just say that not having an economy forces us to wipe our tears with toilet paper, which was to become our primary product of profit. France agreed to protect Paris, Texas by guaranteeing our sovereignty. Honduras hosted our soldiers involuntarily, and in exchange for protection, agreed their economy belonged in our treasury, and Puerto Rico was not despacito in their desire to join us peacefully. Thankfully, at this point, the developers helped me resolve the economic tragedy wherein qualified workers were not hiring, and we'll swap the homesteading to attain the economy we should have had in a normal campaign. Passing legislation takes time, and while our navy was set on liberating Haiti, the Dutch decided to invade Texan Honduras. Bien sûr, we are allied with France, and Holland has money, so you can see where this is heading. Homesteading also means our economy is free to hire the bugged peasants mentioned previously, and comboed with Dutch war reparations means our 2 million GDP economy hit 6 million in a matter of months. Haiti resisted our assistance for years before falling in 1874, and now that Texans were actually working, our nation attained great power status more or less instantly. Houston, we had a problem, but now that money flowed endlessly, we can invest in construction, infrastructure, and railing our population with train transportation. New technology led to the development of the iron-class HSS Quesadilla. Nicaragua joined the family and donated their currency, and Costa Rica did the same, essentially offshoring Texan taxation. Boosting any economy requires female property, and due to American bankruptcy, we actually gained leadership of the Yankee power bloc. Welcome to the Texas Trade Federation, built upon the foundation of America's former trade league. While Washington gets high on their own supply, we're now deprived of their industry, which can only be solved through foreign trade. You can milk a healthy cow twice a day, but our southern neighbor is far from healthy, which is why we'll be taking all of their money. That was the plan, but the sombrero occupied half of our land and demanded Los Altos to put an end to hostilities. Far to the east, in the land of Mount Midoriyama, Texas had integrated West Padre Island, and it was time for a war that would shape the course of Japex's history. When news of the upcoming civilization mission reached Tokyo, the imperial court quivered in fear, as the Japanese economy had fallen to bankruptcy and the nation had no funds to staff their military. 23,000 Texans sacked Sapporo, and our outnumbered army attained victory after victory. Dixies don't wear masks, and soon our soldiers succumbed to proto-corona, and the only way to survive was through naval reinforcement. The final blow to Nippon was upon the battlefield of Yezo, where 20,000 Texans slaughtered 51,000 Ashigaru. The emperor decreed the northern territories to Texas and thrust a new Japexan or Texapanese identity upon our polity. Gringo gaijin streamed into Japan and tanked the quality of life for the native people, and even flowers for Algernon could not prevent the JRA from launching a revolution. We are the Texan Org, and resistance is futile. From womb to tomb, our lives are not our own, and a combined Mexipanese alliance failed to thwart Texan ambition. Skeleton crews defended the mainland, while expeditionary forces flew war balloons into the front line, culminating in ultimate victory within a single year. Portions of the partition declared an anarchist secession, which was crushed. The census of 1897 reported 44 million citizens and 20 million radicals, and bloated bureaucracy means that paper is insanely profitable. New Mexico declared a socialist revolution, which was sent to the Shadow Realm. Our former French ally declared war on us and backed down for a free Maldives and Tahiti, and our economy doubled by the turn of the 20th century. Japexan destiny lay in Japanese clay, and in 1903, Texas declared a final war to vassalize Japan. Burgers and burritos added spice to the sushi sovereignty, and the battle for Kyoto resulted in a 3-for-3 victory. Fukuyama predicted the end of history, but he didn't account for a communist Japanese insurgency fighting against Texapan, nor a society of sushi-eating and gun-flinging Japaxanese. The turn of the 20th century marks the end of today's mockumentary, and the start of a solid foundation for the Japexes, or Texapan nation. Our population of 48 million Texapanese is the 5th largest in the world, and with a GDP of 71 million, we have the 4th strongest economy. The Texas Trade Federation dominates the Pacific Rim and consists of the 10 vassal and puppet states aligned with Texonomics, and is itself the 5th most prestigious power bloc and well ahead of Germany, Russia, America, and Brazil. Half of all citizens are ethnically Japanese, 20% are Caucasian Texan, and Japan is already under Dixie assimilation as Sakhalin and Hokkaido experience waves of Western immigration. Mexican culture has all but disappeared outside of the continuing presence of Catholicism, and as a secular state, Texas has made no effort to convert the Shinto, Catholic, and Buddhist communities that form a plurality within the polity. Economically, Texas and California produce more than half of the nation's GDP, which is comically dominated around the exportation of toilet paper and importation of guns. Big Tex is the global leader in gold, paper, and craft paper, and is informally ruled by a consortium of 3 megacorporations. Our capital province boasts the highest GDP in the world, but the life of the average Texan is short and miserable, as paper and pistols are as of yet inedible. Internationally, this campaign presents the most absurd geopolitical situation I've seen in any Paradox game. The American continent features a Canada and Alaska, a corpulent Brazil that ate Colombia, an Afro-Brazilian sequel state, communist Peruvians, and 2 Ecuadors, because one is never enough. Europe has almost entirely fallen to communism, which is strongest in Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, and the cities of Italy. France has somehow spawned Lotharingia in the form of Ile-de-France. Greece has their own version of North Korea, Bulgaria has a bulge, and Turkey, I don't even know what's going on there. We've saved the best for last, and I don't mean a free Tibet or an India that looks like former Yugoslavia. The land down under has 7 independent nations consisting of 3 Australias, an independent Aboriginal Uluru, and the remains of an independent Dutch East Indies that is culturally Javanese and ruled by some sort of anime villain. It was even stranger 10 years previously when the Philippines held territory as the 8th tag, but this is just one wacky region in a world that looks like something produced with dimethyltryptamine. To obtain your own Texan TP and support AlzaboHD, you can like this video for free and subscribe to the channel for more alternative histories. Apologies for the delay between videos, as I was actually in Japan in March as a Texan, which I suppose makes it all a self-insertion. I'd like to thank Paradox for great waving me ducats, and ask that you consider becoming a patron or a channel member for benefits that will likely get better. Arigatou gozaimasu, it's time now for the credits.